Hi, I'm Michael, and this is California. And now that the lockdown and the pandemic are starting to subside, it's time to start looking at how to deal with the aftermath of the lockdown, primarily for renters, because one of the protections that was afforded to renters was protections for rental and evictions. Now, a lot of these protections are going to end as of June 30th, which could leave renters in a potential situation of having to pay a large lump sum of 2 to 3 months of rent that had been forbeared for the last couple months, in addition to paying continual rent in the future. And this could have a devastating effect on our community in the sense that it could affect renters, it could affect landlords, and it could affect cities who already have homeless problems like Los Angeles. So today we're going to talk about what some cities and counties here in California and across the country are going to do to help out these individuals pay their past due rent as well as future rent up until the economy gets back up and running. Now, before we do that, if you like this information, if you find it useful, you find it helpful, please don't forget to like and subscribe. That way you can get updates when our newest and most informative videos become available. All right, so let's first talk about where the money is actually coming from for the rental assistance. And it's really coming from the CARES Act, which passed at the end of March, which had provisions for $17 billion for rental protections, eviction protections, and mortgage protections. And all that money is now starting to trickle down through cities and counties and states to be able to get out to those renters who had forbeared their rent under those protections for the last couple of months. But now that those forbearance are coming to an end, those protections are ending at the end of June 30th, it means that those folks are going to be stuck with a potential 2 to 3 months worth of rent they have to pay back, in addition to future rent that's coming up, all the while the economy is not back on its feet yet. So cities are trying to figure out how to utilize this money to help renters through that process. And some cities like Los Angeles are getting $100 million, which I know it sounds like a lot of money, but given the amount of need that is out there, that money is going to go very quick. So I would encourage you ASAP to check with your city and county and state and see if they have programs like this and start getting ready for that, even if they have not rolled it out yet, because a lot of cities have not. They've just got the money and they're trying to figure out how to distribute it. Additionally, I'm going to talk about specific cities that are going to be applied for here in California, but it should be a great guideline if you're trying to get ready for wherever you are at to get ready for when these programs are rolled out. So just notice that it's going to vary from state to state. They're going to have different income limits and things like that, but the information that you're going to need to have to prove that you're eligible will probably be very similar. All right, so let's talk about who is eligible for these programs. And remember, this is going to vary from state to state. It even varies from city to city. So this is not going to be a hard and fast rule, but it'll be good guidelines to understand what the eligibility requirements are. And what it looks like, the things that I've seen that are unanimous among all the applications that I've seen so far, is that it's based on household size and income. But those incomes can change from city to city since it's being set by the cities who are administering the program. So for example, we look at 3 cities here in California that I've seen so far. Anaheim, for a household of 4 people, the income would need to be below $102,000 a year. For Los Angeles, it's at $90,000 for a household of 4, and for San Diego, it's at $69,000 or below to be eligible for the program. Additionally, you need to live in the city that is administering the program. So if you live outside the city, you obviously would not be able to apply. And some cities like Pasadena here in California have a 5-year minimum of time that you lived within the city to be eligible for the program. Additionally, you have to be 18 years or older, and I have not yet seen anything on any of the applications that I've seen so far that are specifically asking about citizenship. So I don't know if that is a factor in eligibility. Now, folks who would not be eligible is folks who are already receiving benefits from other government or nonprofit organizations for their housing, as well as folks who have untraditional living situations. So for example, if you lived in a camper, or if you're living in a motel, or maybe you have a lease that is a verbal or just kind of a handshake agreement, those folks would not be able to apply for this program. So let's talk about how the money is paid out. And it's relatively simple because the money is actually paid directly to the landlord. It's not going to be paid out to the renter. So once the application and the whole process is done, then that money will be paid to the landlord, and there's maximum amounts of money that can be paid out for households. So for example, if we look at those cities we just talked about, Anaheim is at $2,100. Los Angeles is at $3,000. San Diego is at $4,000, and Pasadena has the most generous I've seen so far, is at $4,500, which can be used for past due rent or rent moving forward. Now, obviously that is a lot of money, but it may not cover everything, but it'll definitely help out, at least in the short term, get folks back on their feet while they're trying to get back to work. So let's talk about how you can actually apply for the program. And this is where it gets a little vague because it varies from city to city to city or state to county. Also, a lot of these counties and cities and states have just got the money and they have not fully flushed out how they're going to do the application process. But more than likely, it'll be through an online application or for a paper application, or it may be administered by a third-party nonprofit organization who's running the program. And as soon as we find out more information about that, we'll definitely let you know. We'll make a new video, or we'll post the apps down below as well. Now, the one that we have seen so far is from Anaheim, and Anaheim had a super short window. It's really just from June 1st until today, June 5th, to apply for the extra rental assistance. So we'll put the app down below, and if you live in Anaheim and you think you're eligible, you should definitely apply as soon as you can. Whereas other cities like Los Angeles are going to start in July after the forbearance protection ends and everyone comes out of forbearance and they have those lump sums. So Los Angeles is going to be a little bit later. Now let's talk about some of the documents that you would want to have in general on hand, because again, if it's a 4-day window, you want to make sure you have all your ducks in a row so that you can get enrolled as soon as possible into the program. So documents you would need are kind of the general documents that you would imagine. So things like proof of identification, so a passport or government ID or something like that, as well as utility bills showing gas, electricity, and water. Also, you would want to have a copy of your current lease and information for your landlord, so if they need to contact your landlord. Additionally, you'd want to have proof of income for the last couple months, and so you can show how your income has actually changed from 1 month to another or has dropped a lot, as well as proof of assets. So if you have IRAs or 401ks or any money that you can rely on, they're going to look at that as part of your eligibility, as well as any sort of past rent documents. So you can show that you are delinquent or that you've requested forbearance or that you have not been able to make your rent for the last couple of months. So having this stuff together is going to be super duper important, because again, if your opening window to apply for these programs is 4 days, or maybe it is longer, but the money runs out in the next 5 days after it opens, then you want to make sure you get in ASAP so you can beat the rush and make sure that you get that help that you need, because it's going to run out. It is first come, first serve. So overall, I think that this is a great start, but the question is it going to be enough to help out everyone who is in need? And the unfortunate answer is I don't think so. Also, there's some serious problems with the program, and considering it leaves out a large amount of people who should be able to get the extra help. So folks who have untraditional living situations, maybe they live in an unpermitted area, or they have a lease that is verbal or a handshake, or they live in their car or in a mobile home that is on a rented property. Those folks are going to be left out from this program. Additionally, the amount of money at $100 million for Los Angeles, that's a lot of money, or $17 billion for the entire United States. That's a lot of money, but is it going to be enough? I'm not so certain, just considering how much need there really is, especially because if folks do get evicted because they don't have enough resources to pay for their rent, that's really the precursor step to becoming homeless. And Los Angeles already has a huge homeless problem. So hopefully they will develop this program and actually find some additional funds to put into it. $100 million, that's a good start. $17 billion, that's a good start, but it's definitely not going to be enough to get everyone back on their feet before the economy is up and running again. Now, it is good that they are putting up to $4,000, $4,500 into the pockets of folks who need it most. I mean, that's money that they don't have to spend on rent, so they can spend it on food or on gas or on necessities. But unfortunately, I hope that they get more benefits out to these folks, because it's not going to be enough, the amount that's there. Thank you so much for watching our video. I hope that you found it interesting or useful, or at least helpful. And if you did, please don't forget to like and subscribe. That way you can get updates when our newest and most informative videos become available. Also, if you have any comments or questions, leave them down below. We'd love to see your comments and questions. We'll be happy to make a new video or a new post to go over them as soon as we can. Now, finally, we here at California, we know health insurance. So whether it's private health insurance or Covered California or Medicare or Medicaid or Medi-Cal, or even health insurance for a small group, we know health insurance. So if you have any questions about those, put those down below and we'll make a new video or a new post for your health insurance questions as well. Now, other than that, I'm Michael and this is California, wishing you a happy, healthy day.